What's up, friends? Chook here, and first and foremost, I'm back. I'm not back in the best possible way or in full form or anything, but I am at a hospital and I am back. So probably from the tone of this video and from the way I'm talking and maybe even the way I'm looking, I'm still not feeling 100% or close to it. I'm extremely tired and struggling to keep my eyes open during the day and some other things. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick chat about the channel update as far as content scheduling and all that sort of stuff goes, and then we're going to have a chat about the treatment itself and mental health and what I've gone through in the past 15 days and all that sort of stuff. If you would like to have a chat about that, then stick around. But for the channel, this is what's going to happen, I hope. So I got home on Tuesday. It is now Friday. I should have probably made this video earlier, but as I just mentioned, it's been hard to kind of do anything for the moment. So I hope to get back to creating content next week. So I'm looking and aiming to do like item find Thursday stream and capture rate Thursday stream and item find Sunday stream for Bid Heroes. Get back into the swing of that next week. And I hope that I can start mass producing and mass recording and publishing Gears of War again. Not Gears of War. God of War. This is another thing. My memory has always been bad, as you would know if you've been around for a while. But this treatment has made my memory awful. So if you guys all find it funny when I don't know what I'm doing and lose track of things and just forget what's going on, be prepared for more of that because my memory's just gone completely out the window. One sec. Sorry. So yeah, I'm trying to get back into streaming Bid Heroes tomorrow, next week on Thursday and Sunday, and then God of War as well. And build up those videos. So hopefully expect some content next week. And, maybe some content where I don't know what I'm doing and forget everything, but more so than normal, I would say. So that is the content start. If that's all you're here for, then that's it. Hopefully content next week. However, let's have a bit of a chat, my God, about mental health in general and what I've just been through. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to all of you guys. I know that we've all kind of met through my channel and my videos and all that sort of stuff. That's how everybody's come together. But the community that we've built as a whole is amazing. So you've all been very supportive of me, and not only me, of everybody. So speaking about Discord, the Discord server, I've gone all blurry. Has that fixed it? That has not fixed it. Let's try and fix this. Come on. There it is. The Discord server that we've made, there's so many people on there that are helping other people with their problems and stuff. And, people are like, oh, this has happened. What do I do? And, people have issues no matter what. And everybody in there is pretty much everyone in there is helpful and is looking out for each other and is, a good person and all that sort of stuff. So I appreciate not only you guys being supportive and there for me while I've been away, but supportive for each other. And, there's people, YouTubers and content creators and stuff that have, millions and tens of millions and subscribers and viewers and all that sort of stuff, and wouldn't know any of them well at all, or they're just a number type thing. But considering we're kind of small scale, it's good in that way because everyone can kind of know each other well and really get to know each other and help each other out. So I appreciate that. Another thing to note, which is super heartwarming for me, and it wasn't really my intention, but I'm glad as a byproduct, is the fact that I've been, well, I'm told, at least by these people, they're going to remain anonymous because obvious reasons once you're here. But I've been told by a few people, private message by a few people, that I have inspired them to go and seek help for some of their mental health issues as well, or re-seek help. So there's a few of you out there that, again, I'm not going to name who you are, that have got onto me and said, hey man, like, I could never do what you did and come out and talk about it and this, that, the other. I've always talked about it. I don't make it an issue of talking about it. Like, I don't bring it up, but if it gets brought up or something, then I'm more than happy to talk about it. I'm a very like black and white, open book kind of person, very blunt and to the point, and don't like walking around on eggshells and pussyfooting around issues and all that sort of stuff. So basically, if anyone asks me anything, I'll give you, and I'm completely honest as well. I don't lie because I don't see the point in that either. So if anyone ever asks me a question about anything, I'll answer it truthfully. Doesn't matter what it is. It's just the type of person I am. So I realized that illnesses, diseases of any kind are hard to talk about, and mental illness is even probably harder to talk about in a way because people see it as weakness, even though it's not. I mean, you can have diabetes, you could have cancer, you could have depression. It's all an illness, man. It's not all the same, but you're still struggling with stuff. So there's still this kind of stigma and stereotype and thing about mental health that it's not really a thing, or it's not as important, or but I don't have the statistics in front of me, and it's probably not a great thing to dwell on, kind of a recovery kind of video, but the statistics of people committing suicide and stuff a year from depression and anxiety and all that sort of stuff is alarming. So I urge you, you don't have to talk to me about it or anyone about it, but if you are struggling from something, to go out and see someone about it. Go talk to your GP, get a referral to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or something, and start that process, because if you don't, you never will, and then you'll just hold it all inside and you'll have no way of dealing with it, and then who knows what will happen. So I've been doing it for about 18 years, and I'm still here, which is great, obviously. So yeah, so thank you to all you guys who have opened up to me and then told me that I was an inspiration by being so open and stuff, to kind of catalyst you guys into either trying for the first time or trying again to get better. So I appreciate that, and I'm humbled by that. But yeah, that's all I'll say about that. So thank you. That's a huge boost to me, knowing that I'm actually helping other people as well. All right, let's get into what I went through. So I've been gone for, I was in hospital at least for 15 days for a treatment called transcranial magnetic stimulation. And that's more commonly referred to as TMS. So TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation. And basically what it is they run magnetic waves through your brain, and it's to try and kind of change the neural pathways to make you think differently, type thing. So I didn't know too much going into it. I knew that that's basically what it was. It's like a less invasive version of shock treatment, which is called ECT. And that's about all I knew. So going in and having it done, I know a lot more. And it goes basically like this. The left side of your body controls the right side of, the left side of your brain controls the right side of your body. The right side of your brain controls the left side of your body. The left side of your brain is the logical side, and the right side is your emotional side. I think that's right. It could be swapped. I'm not too sure. Either way, they go in and the first thing they do is they map your head, which is apparently a phrase that I never heard of. But they get like tailoring. See, my memory, I can't think of words. It's really frustrating. This apparently will pass. Like in the coming months, I'll start getting my memory back and get a bit more fluid with what the hell I'm talking about. But it's going to be like this for a while. The measuring tape, right? The tailor's measuring tape. That's like a soft one that they wrap around your leg and all that sort of stuff to like fit you through a suit or a dress or something. They get that and they measure like your head in all different ways and all the rest of it. So they get the measurements of your head. Apparently I have a normal sized head, so that's good. Then they decide whether they want to do the left side of your brain or the right side of your brain, depending on, what issues you're presenting, for instance. So I had a chat, and obviously if you're having this done, depression's a big one, right? But there's a few things that it can be done to help. All right, so I went in for depression and anxiety as the main two, just because I've never really found any respite in 18 years, and medicine doesn't really work for me. Anyway, he said, is there other shit that's going on? And I said, well, yeah. And we went through it, and then I talked about that I've got like pretty severe IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and I've got chronic fatigue as well and stuff. As soon as I said chronic fatigue, he goes, left side. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, if you got fatigue issues and motivation issues and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And he goes, left side. And I said, why is that? And he said, the left side is your logical side of your brain. Again, I think that's right. And if we do the left side, we stimulate the left side and basically boost that. If we do the right side, which is your emotional side, we suppress it. So effectively, I think the idea is suppress the emotional side so you don't get so emotional about stuff, and stimulate the other side so you think more clearly and you think better, logical side, and it gives you more energy and motivation and stuff to deal with things. I think that's the basic premise of what it is. I then went on over the next 2 weeks, because that was the first day, to ask my psychiatrist doctor dude in there about 1,000 billion questions, because anxiety will do that to you. You just want to know everything. And he tried his best. I didn't get along with this guy very well, but he tried his best. And in the end, he just said, dude, stop trying to make sense of psychiatry. It doesn't make sense. And which I knew already. And the way he kind of described it is that, well, first of all, everyone's different, right? I just got an update, so apologies if you heard that. My PC needs a reset. It's good to know. The way he described it is everybody's different and everyone's brain is different. And mental health, which is what I was hinting at and talking about before, it being a disease just as bad, if not worse, than others, is that if you get, I don't know, an issue, a disease, let's say pancreatitis, is that a thing? Or tonsillitis or something, right? They know exactly what to do. They go, oh shit, this guy's got tonsillitis. We need to go in, take his tonsils out, blah, 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 blah. Done. My mum actually, I didn't even get home from the hospital. I was in the car on the way to hospital and my stepdad called me and goes, hey, yeah, your mum's in hospital. Sorry, bad timing. And anyway, she's ended up being all right, but it was scary there for a few days. She has got a giant stomach ulcer in her stomach, obviously, that is like golf ball nearly size, like huge, that has been bleeding into like her bowel and her intestines and stuff. And she's lost like a crap load of blood and anyway, it's fixed now, apparently. And she's in hospital for a couple of days recovering. But again, okay, they found what the problem is. They've gone and fixed it. The way he described mental health and the way I've understood it in the past as well is that everybody's different and everyone's brain is different. So someone will present, like myself, for instance, with depression, anxiety, and fatigue issues. Someone else might present with the exact same thing, but it's because it's your brain, there's no definitive answer or treatment for it. So what might work for me won't work at all for the other guy. So let's say depression as a whole. If you go in and you see a psychiatrist, right, before going into hospital, mental hospital, and doing all this sort of stuff, if you've been seeing a psychiatrist for a while, you would know what I'm about to talk about. If you haven't, or you've never had mental health issues or something, here's kind of like an insight into it. You go, you chat about your life, you chat about your shit, what you're worried about, what triggers you, just in general, like why you are the way you are, effectively. Then they try and talk you through ways to cope, and they'll refer you probably to a psychologist to go and like chat and all that sort of thing, the more chatty side, whereas the psychiatrist is more the medical side that can prescribe meds and stuff. So for me, over the past 18 years, not all 18 years, it'll be like a 2-year slog, and then I'll just go down and crash for 3 years and think life is meaningless and all that sort of stuff. And then I'll come up and try really hard again for a couple of years, and then nothing will work and I'll go back down. So it's like a roller coaster, right? And so while you seek help, they will try and do different medications, different combinations of medications, all this sort of thing. So you'll be put on, let's say, medication A, right? Because they go, okay, you have depression. Medication A has is designed for treating depression. So let's give it a go. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try medication B, which is also made for curing depression or helping with depression. Okay, that didn't work. There's probably like A to Z of those drugs, and think of them as like branches of a tree. So the tree is depression. Then all these branches come out of that, and they are like drugs to treat depression. And then from those branches, all these mini branches come out from each of those branches. So like a tree, like that thing analogy. Each one of those trees of drugs has then X amount of drugs in that target separate things, So they know if you have depression, then this is the general tree that they want to go off, and then they just have to find the right branch of the branch of the branch that might work for you. And it might not do anything for the other person. So that's the really frustrating part, because you can't just go in there and like, hey, I've got like a chopped off finger. Okay, well, we'll just cauterize that wound, give you antibiotics and steroids and stuff. You're going to have a stump finger, but it's fixed. You go with depression, anxiety and stuff, there's no fix. effectively, unless you find the drug that's good for you. Anyway, that was a bit of a ramble, as is the way with me. I don't do editing. I like raw footage, so deal with it. So that's the way he described it. He said, stop trying to make sense of it. It's like a best guess scenario. So we can't know exactly what to do. We just have to look at what's wrong and give the best guess of what might help. So I kept asking questions because like my mind doesn't just accept that, but I know that that's kind of what it is. Anyway, so I ended up having the left side of my brain done, which is the logical side, so that I could hopefully think a bit more clearly and not like stress out about stuff and get some energy and all that sort of stuff. So the left side is like a jackhammer. And if I remember, I'll try and put some media that I recorded while I was in there of me having the treatment. But it's effectively, it feels like they put, I should finish the measuring thing. So they measure your head, like I said before, getting back to that. And then they've got this little wand thing that sends like a little shock onto your head, and they go around the rough part of, like when they measure the rough part of the head, whatever measurement it is, and they do this little electric pulse thing until your hand flinches. So you know, like when you go to the doctor and they put that little hammer on your knee and your knee flexes, like it's that little nerve thing. This is effectively the same thing. So left side of your brain covers the right side of your body. So they ask you to sit there with your hand on a pillow like this, and then they get this little ticky machine and they tick, and eventually your finger goes like this or your hand goes like this, and they know they're in the right spot. So they do that, they find the right spot, and I don't know how, whatever they do, but they find the right spot after doing those little tickies for like 10 minutes. Then they have like what I imagine is like I don't know, different countries' currency, but you know, like that big of an area kind of thing, like a roughly sized little circle area. From there, they then measure towards your nose and from your ear, and they find a spot on your forehead. So mine was about here, pretty much where this eyeball is. They put a dot there with like texture or Sharpie or whatever you want to call it. And then they get this machine, you lay down in a chair and you get this machine, which is the actual magnetic stimulation machine. And that lines up everything. There's like a line on the front of it. That line goes directly over the dot. And basically, the dot and the measurement is to find the spot. Then you line this up with the dot to put it in the right spot. And that's how it works. The left side is like a jackhammer, and the right side, if you're having the right side done, is like a nail gun. So the right side is like a nail gun, like that, just one every second or something for 20 minutes. The one I had was like a jackhammer where it was like for 4 seconds and then off for 11 seconds and then on for 4 seconds, off for 11 seconds. But it sounds like electricity. Again, if I can remember to put the video up, I will. And what it feels like is not pleasant. It feels like, imagine, how am I going to describe this? Okay, imagine 10 mice standing around a circle on your head with knitting needles, with like knitting needle sized jackhammers. And then they get the go and they all just turn them on at once and smash you in the head with it. And then after 4 seconds, they turn them off. And then 11 seconds later, they turn them back on. It feels like like all these little tiny stabby things are being stabbed into your head. It's not great. It is not great at all. It makes your whole face vibrate. It makes your eye, like your skin gets pulled up and all the rest of it. It's not great. It kind of hurts as well. I have a pretty high pain threshold, but the first couple of days it quite hurt. Headaches, fatigue, which I don't need because I've already got chronic fatigue, memory loss, irritability. So it's funny that it's trying to cure things by giving you those things, but worse. Anyway, it is what it is. So I had that twice a day for 15 days, equaling 30 treatments. And now I am done, but I'm not done. So there's a 50-50 chance of this working in some form. So the 50-50 chance of it just not doing shit, and I feel exactly the same. And there's a 50-50 chance of it working in some way. And either I feel a little bit better, I feel a lot better, or I basically am fixed. They didn't really give me a percentage on those. They just said, if it works, you'll know it's working at least, and you'll feel better. So I'm looking forward to that. I really, really, really can't imagine how much I'm looking forward to that, and I won't know for another 2 weeks to a month whether it's kicked in effectively, because the brain has to have time to basically recover, relax, and for it to all kind of kick in. And between treatments, you need at least 3 hours between them. You can't just have a treatment at 8 a.m. and then have another one at 9. So my treatments would normally be 8 and 1 o'clock or something like that. So yeah, over the next 2 weeks to a month, I will know if it's worked or working. Let's go on that kind of pathway for the moment, and let's assume that that's the case. If that's the case, then I go back in then in about a month. I'm booked in for the 2nd of July, somewhere in that week. So about a month. I go back in for anywhere from 3 to 5 days. He hasn't told me yet because he doesn't really follow up with anything. This psych I've got in there. But anyway, let's say 5 days worst case scenario. I go back in for 5 days, once a month. So effectively 1 week, once a month for 6 months for top ups. So 2 treatments a day, 5 days would be 10 treatments. It might be 6 treatments over 3 days. It might be 8 treatments over 4 days. I don't know, but let's say a week. Just as a rough guide. So I'll be in for a week each month for 6 months. Then it will be a week each 6 weeks for a couple of treatments of 6 weeks worth, maybe 3 or 4 6-week brackets. And then I'll be in for a week every 2 months for, let's say, 3 or 4 months bracket. So effectively, I'll be in there for about a week each bracket for the next year or so. And then maybe even longer. It might be something I go back to for, a 15 treatment thing every year or something. I really don't know. But for the moment, there's top up. So I thought this was a one and done thing. I didn't realize it was a continuous ongoing treatment thing, but it is. So if it works or is working, then that's the case. And if that is the case, then I'll try and plan, content and stuff around that. So there's stuff out there while I'm gone, but that's kind of the least of my worries at the moment. I'm trying to focus on myself and stuff. As much as I want to look after you guys, I got to make myself healthy and whatnot. I'll try to. So that's if it works. If it doesn't work, then I have to go back in for another 15-day, 2-week bracket like I've just done. But instead of doing the left side, they do both, which is called bilateral. Makes sense. And then they basically bash the crap out of your brain on both sides with magnetic stimulation. And so I asked the doc, apparently you're supposed to, if you do left side and it doesn't work, you then do right side. If it doesn't work, you do both. He just skips the middle step. So he's like, if you do right and it doesn't work, there's no point doing left. We'll just do both. If you do left and it doesn't work, no point doing right. We'll just do both. And I said, okay. If you just end up doing both as the main, if the others fail and you go to do both, the both would be the end goal, better one to do. Why don't you just start with both? Right? I think that's a fair question to ask. And he said because it's brutal, basically. You don't want to go from having nothing done before and you go in there and have both sides of your head smashed, both sides of your brain smashed. He goes, if you can get benefit from having one side done, then that's way better than going in and having both sides done and just getting your brain mushed on both sides. And I said, I can understand that. Because if you I went in to just have the left, and the first few days, massive headaches and tired as crap, and my head hurt and all this. If you're going in there from nothing and having never experienced before and having both of your sides of your head done, yeah. Anyway, but the only problem with that is that there is no definitive proof or evidence or medical records or anything like that bilateral will be any better for you than just the one side. It's just another guessing game, right? It's just something else to try. So it's not if you have the left side and that doesn't work, doing both sides will have another 50% bonus chance of working than the one side. If you've got a 50-50 chance of the left side working, it's probably 50-50 chance of both sides working, but you don't know until you've tried. That type of mentality. So if it doesn't work, I'll have to go in and have both sides done over basically what's just happened, but repeat the process on both sides. And then again, providing that works, then I'll have to have the top ups over the 6 months, then the 6-week brackets and then the 2 months brackets. That's if that works. If neither of them work, then we'll have a chat about that when that happens, if that happens. Then we have to look at ECT, which is shock treatment, and let's not go there just yet. Let's hope for the best, because that's a bit scary. But that is basically what has happened over the past 2 weeks. While I haven't been having treatments, so let's say the hypothetical treatment time I did before, which was 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. During that time in between, you were expected to attend like groups and stuff. I've mentioned a few times that I've been struggling with this sort of mental thing since I was 16, so 18 years, almost 20 years. And I've done therapy to death. I've done talky feelings to death. I've done, planning stuff and meditation-y things, and I did hypnotherapy for a bit. I did a thing called Qigong, which is a really, really ancient Chinese meditation-y thing. It's basically where yoga and Tai Chi and all that originated. So it's like the OG relaxation-y, chakra gubbins, whether you believe in that stuff or not. I personally don't, but I was literally giving anything I could a try just to see if it would help. So I've done a lot of stuff over the past 20 years, nearly 20 years. So you were expected to attend groups, which was pretty much all of them were sitting around talky feelings, which I've done so many times. So I just refused to go. It's kind of part of the thing, and you're expected to do it. So that was hard for me to not do them and incur the wrath of the nurses who, like, you're there voluntarily, so they can't absolutely force you to do it, but they expect you to do it. And I told each individual nurse my story and told them how I don't want to do it and I'm happy to do the other things. So I went on a walk, like a guided walk with one of the counselors and stuff every morning. I went to hydrotherapy a few times a week, that sort of stuff. But the sitting around talky, no, not for me anymore. I have a psychiatrist out of hospital. I have a psychologist out of hospital. I got all my family and friends and stuff. It's kind of nice to be in there for 2 weeks and not talk about it, if that makes sense. But anyway, that's not really part of it. That was just a thing I'd mention. So that's pretty much all caught up. I can't think of anything else immediate to mention about it. But yeah, it was pretty shit. I didn't enjoy it. I don't think you meant to enjoy it. I met some pretty cool people while I was in there. That's probably something to mention. I made a few friends in there. I was the third youngest. I mean, I look like I'm 22. So people thought I was, 22, 25. And then when they found out I was 34, they're like, show me your ID, I don't believe you type thing. But I was alarmed, actually. The majority of the people there were like 40, 45 plus, which I didn't expect. There was a 19-year-old, there was an 18-year-old, and there was, I'm going to say, a maybe 28, 30-year-old guy. But yeah, I was on the younger end of things. So that might either be just coincidence, or it also might be what I was talking about before, where people don't seek help and they just try and hold it in, and then eventually it cracks and something happens. And by that stage, you might be older and you've just been suppressing it your whole life and stuff. So I don't know. It could be any of those things. But yeah, it was a safe place to be. There were people in there that definitely needed to be in there as far as like their mental state and stuff. Like I wouldn't want them to see them outside trying to cope by themselves and stuff. But that's pretty much it. I'm also going to go because the sun's about to absolutely destroy this eye. It's very close because I still don't have blinds here. But that is a general catch up of what's happened. So just to kind of go over the main points. I'll try to make content next week. I can't guarantee it because I'm super freaking tired. But I'll very, very much try to. B, thank you to everybody for your support while I've been away and in general. And support to each of you as well, like the whole community. So on Discord, a lot of people talk about their issues and problems and stuff, and everyone in there is helpful and trying to help and offers support and stuff. So thank you very much to everybody for being so supportive to everybody. And then third of all, I've had my treatment, but regardless of whether it worked or didn't work, I will be going back in for probably the next year over some form of time. So, expect me to be gone for maybe a week every month or 6 weeks or something for a while. But I'll try and plan stuff around that better when that does happen. But that's it. All right, well, As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.